Hey y'all, welcome back to Happy Connections, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Kayla, and here I just basically share all my journal reflections and kind of go through all the lessons that I've learned in my life. And as you can see by the title, this is a topic super near and dear to my heart, and I get to talk about my experience of being the eldest daughter. What is it like to be an older sibling? And so I guess I was super inspired by all of the memes that get shared on the internet about people talking about, well, my siblings are my servants, or what does it mean like to be the unthanked eldest daughter, and how so many people are ungrateful. And while that's true, I've spent so much time reflecting on my relationship with my siblings that I was like, dang, I feel like this is my journal entry to them. But please don't watch if you are my siblings. You know who you are. Don't do that. But the first things that I think all eldest daughters deal with is first and foremost, like, significant responsibility. So I grew up as the eldest of three, and there wasn't that much of an age gap between us, but just the way the family dynamics were, so often I would find myself kind of in charge of other things, which is fine. I think my disposition kind of helped orient me to that. So like eventually being in charge of the cooking, getting some of the cleaning done, and of course my siblings would do their own thing, but it just felt like such, honestly, a burden sometimes, because I felt like I had to be perfect. And so while there was no longer that full attention that was on me, and honestly it wasn't for a while, I just kind of felt like no one else was really gonna look for me or behind me on my work. And so it was imperative that I'm the one who takes full control of my life, of my schoolwork, of the direction where I was going. And I just would feel this like heavy weight of responsibility. I don't know how else to describe that, because it was like my whole being was like, oh my goodness, captured by this like weight in my life. And there were times when, recently reflecting, I was like, it felt as if I had chains, like the chains of self-discipline on me. Like, no, I can't go out and do this. I need to be a good role model. Or no, I won't get involved with that. It's too childish, and I need to be mature, and I need to get things done. And everyone is relying on me. There was definitely this all or nothing mentality where a lot of it just came from, it's either, and it's kind of supported my way or the highway attitude. I was like, I had to be right. But what does that mean? It wasn't just I was saying whatever. No, it was like I was doing extensive research. I was going online looking for multiple trials. I was asking other people. I was like, I came to a conclusion. I was like, this is the right conclusion. And now everyone has to fall in line, and we have to be perfect. This obsession with control and perfectionism grew a lot because of the environment. It was really tough, and in my opinion, the best way to protect me and my siblings was just to make sure there was no fault. But I would get so exhausted, and when you're a kid, there's very little time for you to focus on, I don't know, like, you're never going to be perfect, and no one's ever perfect. And especially being young, there's so many emotions you want to express. There's so many things that you're trying to get under control. And so it just wasn't fair to me. And it definitely wasn't fair to my siblings. I had internalized a very critical and judgmental how would I say, voice. You know, that voice that's in your head. You're not doing good enough. You need to do more. This isn't enough. This is not going to help anybody. Make it better. Like, those were the kind of voices that were playing in my head. And it led to an extreme obsession with refining myself. You could not tell me anything about a self-help, self-growth, do better, book, novel, podcast, YouTube video, because I was the first. And I felt the restrictions that weren't necessarily placed on my younger siblings, and that's totally fine. But I just knew that there were things that they could do that I couldn't. And so I felt like maybe there was some resentment there that maybe showed up a little bit later in my life. But for the most part, I was just so focused on being perfect that I overthought everything. I was constantly stuck in a loop of planning and reviewing and refining instead of actually getting things done. And when I did get things done, that led to the next part of being overly controlling. It was very harsh and honestly kind of mean. And so it just felt like that was the best at that time that I could have done, especially being a child, once again. But I sat with so much of that now because everything felt hard all of the time. And I felt like I never had rest. And there was this perpetual anger that always sat with me. And so the only answer that I could find to our home life was that we just have to be better. By any means necessary. And so that came in the form of high achievement. And so striving to do better is always great. Like, who doesn't want to better their life? Who doesn't want to make their dreams come true? But it wasn't until long after that I was out of the house for a while and my siblings had gone off to college that I realized that there was definitely a better way to do that. There was a kinder way, there was a gentler way, and that I could have done it from a place of joy, love, and compassion rather than from fear and pain. And oh my God, this makes me so emotional because I just felt like I had to fill a gap that existed. And there were times that others would just turn to me for the answer. And I just had to come up with an answer. It wasn't enough to be like, I don't know. And so being as young as I was, what is the quick and easy result that seemed to leave the least amount of impact? And that was being a very, very strict ruler. Although I love them very much. So it came from the right place. It came off pretty wrong. And that holding that level of sternness in my life made me such a stick in the mud type of person. I was no fun. I mean, I had fun, but I was no fun. I was very intense, and I still am intense, but in a more gracious way. And there are even times when I talk with them now, and they're like, we just feel like you're perpetually judging us in the tone of your voice. So eldest daughters, you guys understand, like, there's nothing more than you want in life for your siblings to do the best that they can. Oh my goodness. Is this gonna go on YouTube? It might have to. Just get on the internet and cry now. Because we never want the world to hurt them. I might have to pause this. but I accidentally restarted. But well, we'll edit that. But yeah, we want them to learn to stand on their own and live out their best dreams and live life to the fullest. So it's hard to see that in the short term when things are hard and it feels super painful, that nothing is ever going our way. And that's how I felt. Nothing is going my way. It just feels painful all of the time. But beside all of the negative things, it just felt so good to feel like I could hold them in my arms and know that regardless of whatever happens, I'll be there for you. Even if you can't find a way out, even if you're unsure who to turn to, even if you don't know who you can trust, I'll be there for you. And I will hold you when you feel too weak to hold yourself. And that feeling and that thread gave me so much power to show up. Even though I don't think they were as appreciative of it. Yeah, being the first means that, you know, there's no one before you who you can learn off of. And so the ideal, like finding the ideal path was what I always wanted. Like here's an example for you guys. You don't have to do it like this, but here's a way that you can go instead of looking around our environment and feeling like this is all that there is to life, because I know that there isn't. And that shift from feeling more like a parent, which was also something I deeply internalized, into being more of the cool vibey sister that I would see, that took some time as well. Like not running to their aid at every second or offering them solutions to their problems, but just being a listening ear and making fun of them and creating more laughter and joy in our connections. That made everything feel better. I feel like I just released a big sigh, I feel like something left with that. But yeah, I love them in the way that I could, even though it wasn't perfect. And they know I love them now, so. Being the first is such a gift. I'm sure the other eldest daughters would agree. And that means that the next time is for someone to take care of us and be a shoulder to lean on and find the people where you don't always have to show up at our best or always find a solution. Man, does it feel good to be relied on. Little scale thing going on here. But yeah. So final note to my younger siblings out there. I love you. And you've given me such an honor to be your big sis. So enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks for joining me here today, guys.